It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, and social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. I appreciate your time and attention. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get straight into it, including updates on a recent Roosevelt break-in. Now, earlier this month, we provided preliminary details on break-ins at the old Roosevelt School in Keego Harbor. And as more information was released on Thursday afternoon, the Splash Live's very own Tyler Keefe had a chance to speak with Detective Robert Barnes to get the details, and here's their conversation.
Detective Barnes, thank you so much for your time.
Cool.
Glad to have you on to talk about this because this is, of course, a big story in the city of Keego Harbor and of great concern, not only because of the state of the building at this time, but because of what went on that day. At this time, what information do we have available to the public? What do we know about the incident on June 3rd and what had happened that morning?
Right. The Officer Sean Davis, Keego Harbor, was dispatched to Roosevelt for a report of several subjects breaking in. Apparently, the witness / caller heard banging, and he went out to investigate. He lived at a nearby apartment and witnessed the people trying to break in a lower level window. And that's when he called. West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, and Sylvan Lake responded, and they set up a perimeter in the area. And two subjects were seen fleeing out the east side of the building. They ran in different directions. One was scaled a fence and was quickly apprehended by an Orchard Lake officer. And the second one was located with the assistance of West Bloomfield when they deployed their drone. He was hiding in the bushes. And it was at that time the fire alarm was activated. There was a small fire that was set in a locker on the third floor. And West Bloomfield Fire Department Station 9 responded and quickly extinguished that after they gained access to the building. The two subjects were lodged at OCJ. I submitted the casework to the prosecutor's office, and they issued on the charges of trespassing, breaking and entering, and resisting and obstructing police officers. They were arraigned. Their bond was $25,000, no 10%. And I believe one of the subjects, who was a resident of Pontiac, a 20-year-old male, he's still in custody. And the other 20-year-old male, who's local, he hasn't been in Keego very long from what I'm told, but he had bonded out recently. So it's still ongoing. It's all in the court's hands now.
And the last that you and I spoke, you had mentioned to me that this was planned by these individuals. They did this with full intent to come into the building and to do some damage in the building. But there's no indication at this time or after these 9 days of investigation leading up to when we're talking today that there was any further planning outside of these individuals to make this break.
No, it seems like they just decided to go ahead and do this one night. It has nothing to do with any of the very highly contested debate of what the fate of Roosevelt, the building, is going to, whether it's going to be demoed or not. I know there's back and forth between the folks who want to save the building because it's a historical structure, but it had nothing to do with that.
And given the report that we had, the rumor that night was that the fire department had responded because there was a fire in the building. Now we can confirm that there was, as you said, a fire was set on one of the higher floors in a locker. It was quickly extinguished when the fire department got there. But, it's a 104-year-old building. When the fire does happen in a building of that age, there are reasonably some concerns from your communication with the fire department and after their response that evening? Is there any indication other than it just being a small fire that it did any other further damage to the interior of that building?
Not that I'm aware of. I had been called out to the scene after the FD had left. So I'd gotten there probably about 1:30 in the morning, and there was no indication. I didn't really speak with any of the FD folks that there was any more extensive damage than just to the locker. I saw the pictures. There was some, obviously some smoke damage to the back wall and maybe some melting at the base of the locker on the carpet, but that was it.
We're joined by Detective Robert Barnes from the Keego Harbor Police Department. He is the acting officer in charge and leading on this case after a break-in on June 3rd in the early portion of the morning, right around 12:30 a.m., as reported by the Keego Harbor Police Department. You can get their full release on this, see it on their Facebook page at Keego Police on Facebook.com, or visit KeegoHarbor.org for more information and to get in contact with the Keego Harbor Police Department. Detective Barnes, in your statement from the city, you had mentioned this as, quote, a perfect example of the community and its police working together to keep our city safe. Talk about the relationship between the residents of Keego Harbor, the police department, and neighboring departments too, in the swift response that not only made the situation at the school safe, but apprehended those responsible very swiftly.
Yeah, it was great. Well, the caller / witness, he actually was helpful in assisting in detaining one of the subjects.
Wow.
But the fact that all those other departments responded so quickly, they set up a perimeter, and it seemed like they all kind of worked in concert together. Like, we work with Orchard Lake and Sylvan Lake on a fairly regular basis, so we know how each other we work, and it just all came together in very unison, and it was resolved pretty quick.
And that's what's really impressive, is that it was resolved so quickly. Multiple departments were able to respond, utilize their resources to help out here. You mentioned also in your release the West Bloomfield Police Department's use of their drone was also helpful in detaining the second suspect and locating them as they hid after fleeing the building. So really a great example of partnership between our local police departments and our other first responders as well.
I was really impressed with that.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't realize when I got there, I didn't realize they deployed the drone until someone told me. And I thought, wow, that's really cool that they were able to, right there on the spot, get that out there and help us find actually they located the second subject. So that was great.
Yeah, and it was great to have that resolution that night as well. That all played a factor. Everybody played a key role in this and making this be resolved within a matter of a couple of hours on that evening, and detain those responsible for this, who were, as you mentioned, later arraigned in the Oakland County Circuit Court as well. So, Detective Barnes, I think this is a really great example, too. You mentioned earlier on the quick action by an eyewitness there to call that in to the police department, which led to that quick response. It's a great example of why people should remain vigilant in their communities, even our relatively safe communities like we have here in Keego Harbor and surrounding areas. Just speak on that for a moment, and what residents should take away from this, what lesson they should take away from this incident, and how helpful they can be in keeping their community safe in the heart of the lakes.
Oh yeah, it's just great that he see something, say something. This guy was, he just didn't go on. I'm going to ignore it. He went out there and, to kind of see what was going on, and he acted on it right away. And that's what's great about this small community. It certainly has changed a lot since I've been in here, and I started in 2005. And I worked at other police departments, but the way the residents are here, my arm gets tired from waving all the time. They're always waving at us when I'm driving around, so I think that's great.
Well, we have a very friendly community.
Very tight community, and we love them.
Yeah, we have a very friendly community out in Keego Harbor and surrounding areas, and friendly departments as well that work clearly very hand in hand with each other and with the residents to keep our community some of the safest in our local area. Detective Barnes, before we let you go, anything else that we should know about this incident, or where people, if they're looking for more information or have more information, how they can get in contact?
Well, they can call the police department at 248-682-3030. I'm here 7 to 3, Sunday through Thursday. And they can also shoot me an email, barnes@khpd.org. That's BARNES@khpd.org. And that's about it. There's no other indication that any other structures or buildings or businesses are in any type of.
Thank you again to Detective Robert Barnes, Keego Harbor Police Department, giving us more details and information regarding that situation at the Roosevelt School in Keego Harbor. Obviously, it took a team effort to come together and come to a resolution to apprehend the suspects involved, and it was a great effort there also. So we want to commend everybody who was actually involved in that. And speaking of commending everyone that was involved, the Orchard Lake Police Department also recognized their team for their efforts in resolving the break-in at Roosevelt School. They issued letters of commendation to Officer Hart and Officer McNeely, as you can see right here on Civic Center TV as we show their photos. Officer Hart is the one who actually saw the suspects run from the building, flee the building. He actually provided their descriptions, radioed it in to the other officers, and then actually the other officers sprang into action. And that's when Officer McNeely was the one who actually apprehended the first suspect, and then with the help of the West Bloomfield Police Department's drone, they were able to identify, locate the second suspect, and as well as apprehend them too. Officer Hart did that. So we want to say congratulations to the great teamwork that happens, the collaborations within our communities, West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake Police Department, Keego Harbor Police Department, for coming together and actually stopping what could have been way bigger situation than what we all wanted. So thank you again, and you can say congratulations to the Orchard Lake Police Department, specifically on their Facebook at Orchard Lake Police, if you want to tell them thank you as well. And in the more uplifting story, the Orchard Lake Police had a reason to actually celebrate. They joined Alexis and her friends for her 9th birthday party. This was just last weekend. If you're watching on Civic Center TV, you can see the photo right here. Orchard Lake Police Department actually joined in. Officer Grubb was the one who joined in. You can see the pictures posted by Orchard Lake Police Department. Officer Grubb joined in on the fun, actually bringing in that great energy, letting the kids know that the officers in the community are actually here to support, have fun with us all too, and I think that's a great thing for them. We want to say happy birthday to Alexis. Happy 9th birthday. Hope you have a lot of fun with your friends and Officer Grubb. You see them on Civic Center TV in the back of the squad car just having a lot of fun. And you can see more of the pictures actually on Facebook. Also, Orchard Lake Police on Facebook. Give you an opportunity to check that out. Also, see those smiling faces. Wednesday night, Sylvan Lake had a very tasty time out at the community center, and this was for a Detroit Panzerotti community supper. Great food truck night out there. As a matter of fact, a lot of great faces, I should say, and residents coming together in one spot to have fun, including some familiar faces, Jeremy Rolfs, as well as the spirit of Sylvan Lake himself, Christian Mike, joining in, enjoying pizza, calzones, other tasty meals. Just a great time and great vibe for the community in Sylvan Lake. And by the way, it was featured, like we said, by Detroit Panzerotti team. Their truck, who was back for the 7th time, speaks volumes to how great they are in the community and how much the community loves them also. The Sylvan Lake Food Truck Night, great event. Seems like there was a lot of great faces and everything. If you want to attend events like this, make sure you keep them in your calendar. You can go directly to the source to find out what's coming up next. sylvanlake.org for your opportunity to see exactly what's going on in Sylvan Lake as well. And the Free Smells in Sylvan Lake also made their way to the West Bloomfield Library, perhaps one of them being inspired by the other in a night with good food, great vibes, and good company. And reporter Jake Schaff has the entire story.
Even over 4 years after the pandemic, the relationship between customer and restaurant might not be as strong as it once was. But the Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library are doing their part to help preserve that relationship with their What's Cooking event, recently held in conjunction with West End Kitchen and Bar. A chance for the community to get together, connect with others, learn about some exciting meals right outside their door, and even a live cooking demonstration to help bring some of this cuisine into their home.
The Cooking Committee are a group of dedicated women and men who love talking about food, eating food, and visiting interesting restaurants. Right now, we're working with a lot of the restaurants that made it through the pandemic, and we're getting people back out to those restaurants because we lost several wonderful restaurants during the pandemic.
So we're really excited to work with West Bloomfield Public Library. This is just like a little demonstration on one of our most popular items that we serve at West End, the rigatoni and our chopped Mediterranean salad. Super excited to be here to kind of spread awareness of our role in the community, what we have to offer, and our delicious food. I've never been a part of anything like this, so this is very interesting for me. I'm excited to, explore a new audience that we haven't seen before, and I'm excited to get them into the doors and let them try all the wonderful stuff we have to offer.
What was it that interested you to bring you out here tonight?
Oh, I enjoy seeing what's available in the community and to meet some of the chefs, the people that work there, and taste their cuisine and see if we want to go there for a later date.
What'd you think of the recipe? Did it seem simple and easy to learn?
It seemed very simple and easy to learn, and it was a little spicy, but not the Diablo spicy, as he said. So it had a little punch to it.
Yeah, I think it's great because it shows them what options are out there, and some of the questions were about gluten-free options, some vegetarian options. So they're learning that there are out there and that you can do it at home also.
What do you hope people take away from here tonight?
I hope they take away the fact that it's time to get out again. It's time to go to restaurants. We made it through the pandemic. It's time to start having fun in your own neighborhood. Because I think West End Kitchen is one of the coolest restaurants in our area.
You get to be with the people in the community, and then you get to see what's available in our community to help support the businesses that are out there. So I think it's very, very important.
One of the best ways to bring everybody together is with food, and the Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library have certainly done their part to help make the community stronger. Let's hope everybody was able to build those connections, and the next time somebody asks, what's cooking? There's going to be a delicious answer right at the ready. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Thank you so much for that story, Jake. Great, interesting story. You can learn more about the What's Cooking event and other events going on specifically at the library all summer long. Check it out on their website, wblib.org, or of course, you can visit them directly on Facebook, West Bloom LIB. You can check out that great food and culinary arts by West End Kitchen and Bar. But speaking of arts in general, a West Bloomfield artist's work is now prominently featured at the West Bloomfield Town Hall. His name is Ari Check-In, the young artist, and he is joining us now on the Splash Live along with his mom, Michelle Check-In. Now, first and foremost, thank you both so much for being here. We appreciate your time. And Ari, getting straight to you first, can you just give us a brief description of how you would describe your art, please?
After finishing Project Surge, my mom wanted me to sign me up for Soul Studio, which is the adult version of Friendship Circle, which provides an art program in mixed media, ceramics, and sewing.
Interesting. So your artistic and creative side kind of drew into this, and you continue your artistic journey from there, essentially. So I see that you went into glazing. You end up kind of donating your art of glazing. Can you just talk about how the glazing class that you took influenced your artistic style?
This is part of ceramics, and my patterns I do are usually for mixed media, which is drawing.
Okay, very interesting. Now, Michelle, can you talk to us real quick? Being his mom, can you just talk about how important it is to be his support, his backbone, and the artistic and creative endeavors that he has?
Well, first of all, his grandmother is a huge artist. She's incredibly talented. I'm a musician, so there's definitely the artistic creativity background in our family. And Ari is both musical and artistic, but he's always enjoyed drawing and painting and ceramics. So when there was the opportunity for us to join Soul Center through Friendship Circle, we immediately took advantage of it. He's been doing it since 2019, and he does it twice a week. And it's a fantastic program for adults with special needs being able to express their creativity.
I love that. I love that Ari has that outlet, and I love even more that you are there to support him. Make sure that he has someone that says you're doing a great job. I'm here for you. If you need a ride, you need whatever the case may be, I'm right there for you. It just makes it all the well better on the journey. Now, Ari, getting back to you specifically, this piece that you have hung up in the town hall. Can you talk a little bit more about that specifically? And I believe it came from another exhibit also. Can you just talk about the motivation to creating it and then just talk about it overall being hung up?
It came from another art show at Soul Studio that already happened before the current one, but I don't remember what the previous show was called.
So how does it feel having your art being featured in the West Bloomfield Township Town Hall?
I don't know what to say because I just didn't know it was going to be in the town hall until my mom told me.
And I know it has to feel great just knowing that any and everyone will be able to see it, will be able to know that your name is associated with it, and the art and creativity behind it came from a local artist. So I just want to congratulate you again on having that accomplishment. Can you just talk about the creative process behind creating these ceramics in a piece like that is featured at the town hall, please?
First, how do I make a pattern drawing? First, I get a piece of paper and draw the lines with pencils, and then I color the shapes in with different colors. And that's how I do a pattern drawing via the mixed media department. When ceramics came along, I decided to incorporate that into the glazing department of ceramics.
That's very, very interesting too, Ari, because I know it's completely different. Like you said, it is mixed media arts. It starts with the idea, it goes into a drawing, then you actually turn into a physical, tangible object also. Are there any types of inspirations that go behind the colors or the patterns that you select when you do these geometric patterns?
When I make one, I think about stained glass windows.
Interesting. Where does that inspiration or that draw to glass windows come from? How would you describe that?
I've seen stained glass windows everywhere.
Interesting. Yeah, so it kind of draws you to it. Now, it is a beautiful and unique piece of art. I would call these different types of stained glass windows. So I understand that too. It is something that kind of draws your eye to it. I want to kind of get into Soul Studios now, if you don't mind. Arya, can you just talk about how Soul Studios, a place like that, creates such a safe space for you to be able to create these arts that we have in the town hall also?
So when I got into the program, I decided to first join the mixed media department first. And that's how I started coming up with pattern drawings. And then I started doing ceramics after.
What do you want people to feel, react? Oh, go ahead, please, Michelle.
So Soul Center actually hasn't been around. I don't know how many years the Soul Center part of.
The adult program began in 2014, but they moved into the building in 2016.
Perfect. So in 2016, it's this incredible space that they bring in professional artists to help the special needs artists to help create their visions and their drawings. Ari's always been a very linear thinker, and he definitely does everything freehand. And his colors, this is an interesting, this piece is hung up is not his usual color palette. He usually does very bright colors like yellows and blues and whites and reds. This is a very interesting color palette because it's very different. So I don't know if it's because it was done in March that it was snowy and cold, but he always thinks in that way. It's very straight, linear, and he's got excellent drawing abilities to make things so straight and even.
That's a great point, Michelle. Now, and asking you, continuing on with you real quick, Michelle, if you don't mind, why do you feel like Ari's participation in Soul Studio and having his art featured in Submerged and Town Hall and different exhibits, why do you feel like that's important for his creative and artistic journey?
Well, it's a space that he feels safe in, and that they really encourage creativity and making products like drawings and ceramic pieces. And for him to be a part of a group and an organization that he's grown with. We've been a part of Friendship Circle since 2004.
And that was before even the Mears Center opened up in 2005.
Yep. And so he's been a part of them forever, and it's just like a second home for us. And they are incredibly encouraging and nurturing. So for myself, a mother of an adult who has special needs, it's very important to bring out their best qualities and their most enjoyable circumstance, so they love what they do and they love where they are and they just love everything about it. And he couldn't be happier there. And so it makes me, anything that makes him happy makes me happy. And I will continue to support him in whatever he wants to do.
As a parent, I completely understand that, Mom. Trust me, I get it. And join us right here on the Splash Live, welcoming West Bloomfield resident and artist Ari Checkin and his mom Michelle Checkin, talking about his art being featured in the West Bloomfield Township Town Hall and him recently being recognized for his artistic achievements and accomplishments also. So Ari, just getting to you real quick, if you don't mind, do you plan to explore any other modes or methods of art beyond ceramics? Do you see yourself exploring beyond that?
Well, back in 2022, I mean, in 2023, I did try a little bit of fiber sculpturing, but then that workshop stopped after summer 2023. So I went back to ceramics and drawing.
Okay, I understand that. Now, what do you want people to feel? What do you want people to take away when they view your art, when they see your art at the town hall, they see it at exhibits? How do you want them to feel?
I want them to feel happy because it reminds them of all the colors and everything.
I completely understand. Just seeing all the colors, the brightness, the unity, how it all comes together within those geometric patterns. I completely understand. Last thing before we let you go, Ari, if you don't mind, what are your future goals, your plans as an artist, your inspirations?
Probably make some more. And I couldn't go to Seoul this week because it's closed for the week.
I completely understand that. But nonetheless, go ahead, continue.
And it's closed because it's a Jewish holiday today. It's called Shavuot.
He plans to continue in Seoul Studio when it's open and not a holiday. I'm hoping he might get into maybe a little different media to expand his horizons. But he never did ceramics before last year, so I'm so thrilled that he's doing different types of ceramics.
I started doing ceramics in Seoul back in early 2020, before even the pandemic shut everything down.
Yes, but I love that he's in ceramics and his drawings, and it's so great. I just want him to do what makes him happy and what he feels like encourages his artistic ability.
Yep. Whatever his soul draws to, whatever you're naturally drawn to and attracted to, Ari, we're always here to support it. Once again, congratulations on everything you've achieved so far. We're so happy that you're being recognized again. Ari Checkin and his mom, Michelle Checkin, West Bloomfield residents and local artists, join us here on the Splash Live. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having us today. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you again to Ari Checkin and his mom, Michelle Checkin, joining us here on the Splash Live, talking about art, ceramics, and his specific art being featured in the West Bloomfield Town Hall also. So we want to thank them. It was always a pleasure and an honor to talk about local residents doing great things within the community. We have so much more to talk about, so make sure you stay right here because we are live, local, and social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff.
That's what white people think. You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Bringing you stories and memories from Keego Harbor, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, and social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I'm your host for today, Kevin McIntosh. I appreciate you being here. Now, we are talking about if you are trying to keep your young ones active, specifically in sports and in basketball. There's a basketball camp coming to West Bloomfield, specifically the Greg Kelser basketball camp coming right here to our community. And joining us right here on The Splash Live, the founder of the Greg Kelser basketball camp. Of course, we have Special K himself, Mr. Greg Kelser. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Such an honor to have you here also, sir. So first and foremost, let's just talk about the generic overview of the camp. Can you just talk about what the Greg Kelser basketball camp is and how it has evolved over the years?
Well, it's an opportunity for boys and girls ages 7 to 17 to come and spend a week with my coaches, with my staff, very, very qualified people who are there to help enhance their basketball skills. The main focus is to make sure they're having fun. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that they're doing that. But, you know, we talk to the kids about all the opportunities that are there in a short week's time, 5 days, not even a full week. But, you know, opportunities to meet new friends and, you know, start relationships that could last a lifetime. Mm-hmm. In addition to, you know, trying to become better basketball players. But we spend a lot of time talking to the kids about education and how important that aspect of their lives are. I feel like, you know, my life and many of my coaches would echo this, you know, a commitment to education is the very embodiment of what we've lived and what we've experienced. And while we're there, able to do what we do right now, we all played basketball and it took us all to a certain level. But it was our educations that were able to pick up from there and bring us to where we are today. You know, I'm a guy who played in the NBA, mm-hmm. but once my career ended, I still had to work. I still had a lot of years in front of me.
Correct.
So it was, you know, that's when the education that I was very, very serious about growing up, thanks to my parents, they demanded that. That's where that sort of took over. And we believe that education is essential and that academics and athletics can coexist. Now, you were asking me about, you know, where the camp all started. It's funny. I feel like, you know, in a way, I've come full circle because my very first basketball camp was in 1978 when I was still in college. And we had it in West Bloomfield at the Jewish Community Center. But the year prior to that, I worked Bob Lanier and Dick Vitale's basketball camp right at West Bloomfield High School, where my camp is now. Wow. And I remember walking away from that situation saying, I can do this. And the next year I was doing it, and we've never stopped since then. This will be our 45th or 6th year running the camps, and they've been really rewarding for us and for the people who've attended.
congratulations first and foremost, all the success on the camp, the inspiration, just the story that you shared alone for the viewers and the listeners right now, inspiring or aspiring to be, or at least achieve the what you've achieved in your career. I know that was great motivation for them. So just throughout the years of the camp, do you have any memorable moments, stories, success from any of the people that attended that you can kind of share that stands out to you?
Well, the thing that I always like to say and boast is that, if you go back to 1978, my first camp, I was 20 years old. The oldest kids in that camp were like 15. So there was a 5-year age difference. Well, fast forward some 45 years, I'm in my middle 60s, and, it's not uncommon for me to run into someone who's 60 years old who says, I attended your basketball camp.
Oh, wow.
And, now we got the grandchildren attending the basketball camps. So, that's been rewarding, the fact that we've been able to stick around, stay around, and have the impact that we've been able to have and share in the great lives, that we've been so privileged to be a part of. Lots of success stories. I mean, we've got kids that are in every field that you could perhaps even think about.
Good.
And in fact, we got one youngster who's playing in the NBA Finals right now, Jaden Hardy of the Dallas Mavericks. He attended our camps for like 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
We watched him grow. We watched him develop, get bigger, from a little boy to a grown man now. We've had many kids go on to play college basketball, play basketball overseas. We've got a couple that have played in the NBA. But we tell people all the time, your kid doesn't have to be, their skill level doesn't have to be at that stage to where, they're vying for a college scholarship or a spot on the NBA roster. Your kid can be a novice, can be a beginner.
Of course.
And we would welcome them and make sure that our goal is to make sure that they're a little bit better in every way at the end of the camp than they were when they arrived on Monday.
For sure. It's like, of course, you don't want people who are, or kids who already feel like they're pros or they have everything mastered, just for the development of that. So, yes, this is exactly for the people who are trying to, and like you said, whether or not you're trying to aspire to even go to the pros, basketball or sports in general, team sports help build camaraderie, helps bring teamwork, help you think of a teamwork type of mentality in many situations which we had to deal with in real life. So I completely agree and understand that. Join us here on the Splash Live, founder of the Greg Kelsert basketball camp happening at West Bloomfield High School. We have Mr. Greg Kelsert himself talking about the camp and just in general, basketball fundamentals and education in general for the youth. Now, real quick, Mr. Kelsert, if you don't mind, what key fundamentals do you believe are essential for the youth to understand from your basketball camp in order for them to become professionals or just masters in general?
Well, there's so many areas of the game. And what we hope is that the kids will embrace the development of all of those assets. Those facets. Not just shooting, which everybody wants to do, but ball handling, passing skills, defensive footwork, rebounding, blocking out, conditioning. All of these things are essential if you're going to be a really good basketball player, a complete player. You don't want to be really good in one thing and not good in 3 or 4 others. You want to try to be your best in every phase of the game. And that's why we have station drills. We break it down each day, each morning. You work on these things. You have excellent direction provided by the coaches. And then in the afternoon, we let them play games where we hope that they'll implement some of the things that they may have learned in the morning, try them in the games and that sort of thing. It's worked out. It's worked out quite well. And then we also, to kind of bolster what we talk about every day as far as education is concerned, we give them little assignments, little things that they can do where they got to maybe utilize their minds a little bit, and not just the physical part of their constitution, but let's exercise that mind too. And this, I think, helps us to validate what we're talking about as far as education. But I tell you what, I really like what you said a moment ago about teamwork, because basketball and most team sports, they do teach you so much beyond what the sport is all about. It's all about coming together, putting collaborative efforts together for a single goal. And I don't think anything teaches you that better than basketball and other sports where you're depending on someone else's effort along with yours to get to a certain point. And I know that you don't get anywhere in life by yourself. You have to have help and input from others, and teamwork is essential to that. And that's what this sort of teaches.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It means so much more coming from a professional like yourself, Mr. Kelser. It seems like it's common sense, but yes, it's teamwork, it's camaraderie, it's working with others, sharing common goals, and a marriage, any relationship, even at work, it just all makes sense. And I completely agree, comparing basketball and teamwork with that also. Mr. Kelser, I know you have to go, but one last thing, I guess, before we go, just give out any additional details, information, requirements, qualifications for people who are interested in signing their youth up for the Greg Kelser basketball camp.
Okay, we have a website, very simply. It's gregorykelser.com/basketball. If you just go to gregorykelser.com, you'll see a link there that will take you to the camp. But if you want to go directly to the camp, just add basketball on the end of that website you're seeing on the screen right now, gregorykelser.com/basketball. We have a telephone number there if you have questions, but everything is pretty self-explanatory. We still have spots available, but I would encourage anyone that wants to get their child involved to sign up as soon as possible, register, and we'll look forward to having a great week beginning July 15th through the 19th.
July 15th through the 19th, West Bloomfield High School, boys and girls ages 7 through 17, the Greg Kelser basketball camp. Once again, join us here on the Splash Live, the founder of that basketball camp, Mr. Greg Kelser, Special K himself. Thank you so much for your time, sir. We appreciate it.
Hey, Kevin, thank you very much. And you do a great job, too. I want to say that. You're a pro at what you do.
Please don't make me cry, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you. Thank you again to Mr. Kelser joining us here on the Splash Live, talking about the Greg Kelser basketball camp, a great camp for you to sign up the youth, boys and girls in the West Bloomfield community, July 15th through the 19th. You want to find out more information regarding that, please visit the website gregorykelser.com for all the information that you need regarding that. Thank you again for that information. Now, we have a lot of things going on in the West Bloomfield community. Specifically, next week is the Juneteenth celebration being planned in West Bloomfield. And there's actually Juneteenth and the WB event going on. And join us here on the Splash Live to talk more about that specific event. We have from the West Bloomfield Parks and Recs Commissioner and member of the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force, Vincent Kirkwood, join us on the Splash. And Vincent, first and foremost, can you tell us more about the history of the Juneteenth and WB event and what's going on specifically this year, please?
It kind of is changing this year, the Juneteenth event. So the first 2 years, it was ran by the Social Justice Committee, and it was at West Bloomfield High School. Outside, we had a lot of face painters, food, entertainment, production, celebration of culture. And this year, it's changing a little bit. It's going to be held at the West Bloomfield Township Town Hall, the Recreation Activity Center. And a lot of those things are still going to be happening, just at a different location.
Nice, nice. So we're expecting a lot to go on then, right? So since we essentially changed the location, what about the activities and the different things that we are expecting there? Has any of that changed? Has it grown? Just talk about what we're expecting that in that aspect.
Absolutely. So the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force is a combined effort between the West Bloomfield Parks and Rec Commission, the library, and the township. And what we're doing this year is going to have a celebration of Juneteenth on the campus of the West Bloomfield Township Hall. We're going to have music, we're going to have dancing, we're going to have an African drum group, we're going to have food, we're going to have face paintings, we're going to have workshops by Stephanie Kreider. We're going to have the library who is going to do a history of Juneteenth with several individuals. They have a performance, I'm sorry, not a performance, but a lecture, if you will, at 11 o'clock and at 1 o'clock, and both speak to the Juneteenth celebration, what it means. The 11 o'clock is more so for the children, and then the 1 o'clock is for the adults. But you're welcome to come to both events.
Yeah, absolutely. And we appreciate that. Join us right here on the Splash Live, telling us a little bit more about the Juneteenth and WB 2024 event. We have Vincent Kirkwood, member of the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force. So let me just ask you personally, Vincent, what does Juneteenth mean to you? And why is it important to the West Bloomfield community?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And a lot of people still don't know exactly why we celebrate Juneteenth and what it is. So, Juneteenth is a celebration of African Americans' freedom in America, if you will. So, a little bit of, I'm going to give you a quick history on it. So, I believe it was 1862 or 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. That freed the slaves in America. However, there were a group of slaves that were still in, I want to say, Texas, that did not know that they were free. So 2 years later, in 1865, uh, they finally found out that they were free. So it was June 19th when it happened, 1865, and that is why we celebrate Juneteenth. It's a celebration of freedom for African Americans that were enslaved, 155 years ago or whatever it was. So that's why we celebrate Juneteenth, and we celebrate it with culture, we celebrate it with music, we celebrate it with food, we celebrate it with just an excitement of around what we've done as a culture and who we are as a culture, and that's the meaning of Juneteenth.
Right, exactly. And that was no, and that was January 1st, 1863. Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, by the way, and it was in Galveston, Texas, where they
Yes.
said the last of the slaves were, and they were free June 19th, 1865. Now that date is very. Oh no, please continue.
No, I was just gonna say, and that's why we're doing it on we're celebrating our diversity task force in West Bloomfield on June 19th. I think it was really important that we celebrate it on the day of. Now it's a Wednesday. Kids should be out of school.
Right.
And we're hoping that the weather cooperates, but it's going to be a day of celebration, a day of happiness, a day of feeling great. We're going to have I think it's called the Nanu Di Giapo African drum band. We're going to have dancing. I also want to mention that 44 Scoops, which is a new ice cream parlor right at the corner of 15 and Orchard Lake, they are going to provide free ice cream to all of us who are present. Henry Ford Hospital, West Bloomfield, is going to be heavily involved. They're going to help us with food and other things. The diversity task force is involved. The West Bloomfield Parks, West Bloomfield Township, the West Bloomfield School District. I mean, we've got so many great groups of people who want to celebrate Juneteenth on June 19th here in West Bloomfield. And I think it's really important that we do that because our community is so diverse. Our community is not one group. Our community is a mixture of a lot of different people, and that includes African Americans. So to celebrate in West Bloomfield is a great honor. I'm happy to be a part of it for the last couple years.
And no, absolutely. And I love this too. I love to speak on it too. Juneteenth was one of those days. Coincidentally enough, it's on my birthday, June 19th.
Oh, wow.
So that was one of those days where, since I was in elementary school, I always wondered what holiday falls on my day. So when I looked it up, I found out at a very early age what Juneteenth was. But then nobody was really celebrating it. So like, it seems like something significant, but people never celebrated it as big as it has been in the last couple of years. So that was one of those things where I learned about early, and I was wondering why it hasn't been as big, but now it's starting to be recognized a little bit more and things of that nature. And I'm glad we have this event because we just talked about the different cultures in the community and how they all celebrate their history, Juneteenth being one for the people of the Americans of African descent here in the West Bloomfield to also talk about. So thank you again for your time, Vincent. One last thing, please continue to give the details. How can people find out more? The date, the time, the location again, please.
Absolutely. So we're going to be celebrating Juneteenth in the WB on June 19th, starting at 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, we're going to be at the main library meeting room. You'll hear from Mrs. Gwen. She'll tell us all about Juneteenth. It'll be followed by crafts for young people. And then at 1 o'clock, we have the history of Juneteenth, which is going to be brought to us by Professor Emeritus Whit Dykes, who will discuss the story and the legacy of Juneteenth. They'll elaborate on what I talked about briefly, but we're going to be at the West Bloomfield Township Hall near the Rec Center, the Recreation Activity Center. Again, free food, African drum, dancing, tattoos, face painting. It's going to be a great day of celebration for everybody in our community.
Great time, expecting some great weather too, and hopefully I can get out there, celebrate my birthday, and celebrate with you all too, man. Vincent Kirkwood joining us here on the Splash Live again, member of the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force, talking about Juneteenth and the WB 2024. Thank you again, sir. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great conversation with Vincent Kirkwood talking about Juneteenth and the WB 2024 event happening Wednesday, June 19th. Once again, great time for you to go out there and celebrate different cultures within the West Bloomfield community. You want to find out more information about it, visit the website wbparks.org for more information regarding that event specifically and other events also. But we would just want to take time to remind you, while you are out driving on your commute, please take your time, take extra time, and be safe, because there's currently construction going on Orchard Lake Road between Long Lake and Commerce, and it actually started earlier this week. I love to let you know, just so that you aren't hit with any surprises, just in case there's lane delays, things of that nature. Now, the roadway is still open. It's just open with flaggers kind of directing traffic. So just want to be aware of that. Now, I was doing some pavement and grinding of the pavement right now, but then the next step will be like short-term actual paving of the road. So it's a process, ultimately, is what we're talking about. We just wanted to make you aware of that construction. Orchard Lake Road between Long Lake and Commerce. You want to find out more information regarding that, when it could be over, in other areas of construction. Visit the website rcocweb.org. And of course, they are on Facebook, RoadComm, Road COMM, for more information regarding that and other construction in the area. West Bloomfield Parks is continuously telling us about their green dream and promoting green initiatives, as a matter of fact. Now, this month, for the month of June, we're talking about conserving our environment by considering reusable and biodegradable products to avoid things like styrofoam being left in our community and our ecosystem. In case you don't know, yes, styrofoam cups, coolers are convenient when we are doing our picnics and things of that nature, enjoying our parks and our land. But if you leave them there, they don't just break down in nature. So it stays there, and it doesn't break down for hundreds of years, is what we're saying. We're trying to prevent that. So please, if you are able to, reusable cups, reusable bottles, coolers, biodegradable items, things of that nature, just in case we are left with these in our parks and things of that nature. So West Bloomfield Parks continuously promoting the green dream, letting you know about 5 billion pounds of styrofoam end up in our landfills and waterways each day. It is not a pretty sight, ladies and gentlemen. So please, like we said, consider biodegradable options like cardboard, coolers, and other reusable options as well. You want to find out more about their green dream, please, of course, visit them on their Facebook at WB Parks as well. We want to say a congratulations and announce the Michigan Design Prize winners from the West Bloomfield School District. First and foremost, congratulations is owed to Mrs. O'Brien and the Michigan Design Prize winners, as you can see right here on CivicCenterTV.com. First and foremost, Scarlett Wood awarded second place and the silver award for designing the mini boat rider, as well as Jeramel Alicia Salvador got third place, bronze award for designing the pack emergency truck. Very young designers putting their ideas on paper and designing things, and then they got awarded and recognized for it. So it's a beautiful thing. The theme of the entire event was to design a physical product that promotes the enjoyment of the lakes, rivers, and water parks all together. So well-deserved. Congratulations to Scarlett Wood and Jeremiel, Alicia Salvador for their great work and creativity, we should say also. There's an author meeting going on in the West Bloomfield community, giving you a chance to connect with actual local authors. And that's June 13th, Thursday, today, 6:30 p.m. at Schuler Books in West Bloomfield. Now, we're talking about Michigan author Eli Greenbaum and his new book, Hell No, We Didn't Go. Very unique story and perspective, talking about men who were driven to resist or dodge the Vietnam draft. A story that I'm not too privy to, but it seems very, very interesting. It essentially talks about men and people who defied the draft by leaving the country, going to prison in all types of unconventional ways. You want to find out more about this story, the meaning behind it, talk to the author directly. This is your opportunity to do that at Schuler Books. It is an absolutely free event, and you can find out more at schulerbooks.com/events. Like we said, Schuler Books in West Bloomfield on Orchard Lake Road today, June 13th, 6:30 p.m. for an opportunity to meet Eli Greenbaum also. Now, we like to turn trash into treasure, and it depends on what you call trash. If you got junk, I should say, mark your calendars, because you can take some of that junk that you have and sell it. This is during the Spirit of Grace Church second annual trunk sale, giving you an opportunity to sell that junk in your trunk and to other people. Now, there is a $10 fee for you to participate, but ultimately, whether it's rain or shine, it is Saturday, June 13th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get out there for your opportunity to get rid of some of the stuff that's just taking up space. It could be very, very useful for other people. Call 248-338-3503 or just email, very, very simple, office@spiritofgrace.church. And of course, they are on Facebook as well at Spirit of Grace for more information as well. The West Bloomfield High School robotics team acknowledging where they get their support, and is a great thing. They get it from Nissan and Coach Curtis Sharif. Now, Nissan, in case you don't know, financially supports local STEAM and robotics teams, including the West Bloomfield Atomigators. Great thing that they are doing. Coach Sharif is a West Bloomfield Middle School robotics coach, West Bloomfield High School robotics mentor, as well as a parent volunteer, and he accepted the award. So congratulations. You can see the photos, civiccentertv.com as well. So much more to talk about here in the greater West Bloomfield local community, but right now it's time for us to move on to other things. We appreciate your time and attention today. Once again, make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. We are live, local, and social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.